this before I started filming.
It's okay.
But okay, alright, I'll just do it. So, hi Helen. Oh. Why did I pronounce an H in your name? I knew that. Okay. Starting again.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Alright, hey Eleanor.
Hi.
How's
How
it
are you?
going? Oh,
I'm good. How are you?
sorry, I just like...
Do you want to start again?
I'm so bad at alright.
So
okay.
bad at knife.
Right. What is talking? Human interactions. Alright, okay.
Start again.
Yeah. Hey Eleanor.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm really good.
So, what are you studying again down at university?
I'm actually doing journalism and creative writing.
Oh, awesome. And how's that going?
Yeah, it's going really good. I'm enjoying it heaps. Taking mostly creative writing classes though. But yeah, it's good.
Do you have more of a tendency leaning towards creative writing than journalism?
Not so much. Like I think I enjoy it more, but I think, sorry, what was that? But I think with journalism, I can actually use it. So I don't know. It's just kind of how it worked out that I ended up with more creative writing subjects than journalism ones. There's overlapping schedules and things like that.
Fair enough. So how did you decide to study creative writing and journalism at university?
That's actually a really good question because I wasn't actually thinking about journalism at all last year. But I was in year 12 last year and I was doing Extension 2 English, which is you have to write a story and research it and everything, and it was amazing. And every time I talked to my tutor for that, she would say, you need to do something with creative writing. And I was thinking about it, like when I handed in my major work, I was really sad when I finished because it's just like, you know, I'm probably never going to write again because I just have this mentality that's horrible. And I gave it some thought, and I talked to my mom about it and everything, and she was like, well then why not look into it? Why not do something with that? And so I looked into it. I started a creative writing degree, but I thought, what am I going to do with this in the long term? So I just decided, hey, why not put journalism with it? And I'm really liking it.
So journalism's more for like a sort of job security later in life, but creative writing, so you want to do that as well?
Yeah, I think to a certain degree, I'm like still really interested in journalism, but it's I think more of a sort of backup, like in a weird sense where like my tutor always says, most of you are never going to become journalists. It's a little bit grim, but it's like yeah, but most of us aren't going to be creative writers either, so.
But we're going to teach you anyway.
Yeah, have to have a look how that goes.
Yeah, for sure. When did you first start feeling passionate about writing?
I really loved the idea of writing for such a long time. Like when I was young, I would always say I'm going to be an author when I grow up. You know, how everyone always has that one thing that they're like, oh, I'm going to be a fireman. Nope, I was going to be an author.
Definitely.
And that was... I remember when I was like 5 or something, I was writing a story about mosquitoes winning a race. But,
I like that.
But yeah, I don't really know when it started, but I always loved books. I was always interested in books. I was always reading.
What sort of things did you like to read?
I was really, really into fantasy, like, and I still am, you know. But I think it's taken a turn for romantic fantasy now.
As you get older.
Yeah. You know, most kids did. I absolutely adored the Harry Potter books.
Of course.
I read Order of the Phoenix, I think, 4 or 5 times, just because I was like, you know, while I was waiting for the next book to come out, I just reread the same one over and over and over because I'd already forgotten it, you know, by the time I finished it. And like I remember I have a friend of mine who goes, like he was talking to me and he's like, oh, I always thought you read so slowly because, you know, like I would always see you reading the same book over and over. And I'm like, yeah, I just really like the book.
I can't blame you. Harry Potter's a great series.
Yeah, it definitely was as a kid. I don't know if I could reread it now, especially with it being a kid series. But yeah.
Just chuck in some romance and you'll be fine.
Oh yeah, definitely. There you go.
Yeah. So, do you have any outside like influences on that passion for reading and writing?
I think like I was saying before, I think my Extension 2 teacher really influenced me with that, because she was just like she was always very much like, Eleanor, you have something here, do something with it, you know, like and I like in year 11 I was like, oh, I don't know if I should be doing extension, I don't know if I'm going to be good at it, you know, and she just came up to me and she said, you are doing it. And I'm like, all right.
So she really made you push to pursue something you've always loved.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I probably wouldn't have done it otherwise, because I had another teacher who was just like, look, you're not doing so well in Extension 1, so maybe you shouldn't. But I had always clicked with that Extension 2 teacher, so it was really nice. Yeah.
It's always good to have someone like that teacher.
Yeah. Yeah, and she was very passionate as well about writing, so I think that pushed me a bit more.
That's great. And can you see any ways how you could possibly connect journalism and creative writing in the future?
I definitely think that you can. Like, especially when now in one of our classes we're doing creative non-fiction. So it's like you take an event that's actually happened in your life and creatively write about it, whether that be a memoir or, you know, a travel story or something like that. And I think that is a brilliant idea, especially for journalism, because it connects that with like your own imagination.
Do you think you'd ever like to try that sometime, creative non-fiction?
Possibly. The idea still confuses me,
Yeah.
But I think it's definitely a good idea. I have been thinking about it actually, especially for my dad, because he has a wonderful story. Like, you know, his entire life has been reasonably interesting. So I think I could definitely make a story out of that. You know, something like Romulus, my father, except, you know, less people hating it because it's a belonging text.
Yeah, no, I remember you're 12.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I guess you could say your dad's also a big inspiration in your life, by the sounds of it.
Sort of, yeah. I think just because he's always said to me, like, Eleanor, when are you going to write a story about me marrying your mom? And I'm like, oh, that's so cute. But I was always like, your story's not that interesting. But I think the more I look into it, the more I'm like, wow, that actually is pretty interesting. I think it would capture an audience's attention. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Let me just think of another question. I was totally gone off the page, but it doesn't matter.
That's okay.
I'll just see. I think like we've covered along creative writing. Just going back to journalism.
Yep.
Can you see or like think of what medium? Oh, sorry. Let me start again. Okay. Back to journalism. Do you know what form of journalism you think you might engage in when you go out into the field? You decide so?
I would love to do written, just because it's I like writing, and I find video and photojournalism much harder as well. But I have been sort of looking into video journalism, and I'm kind of enjoying it because it's much more like informal, and it's much more based on a conversation.
Definitely.
Yeah. Whereas, you know, written is so much more stylized, and it's so much like it has a very specific form to it, where it's like it tells you in the briefest amount of words what has happened, and then there's a quote, and then that's it. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think video allows you to have a conversation. But it's just the editing side that's difficult there.
No, I can see that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Other question on journalism. I had one on top of my head, but I can't quite remember it. So if you were to go out, say you're a journalist right now,
Yeah.
and you have an opportunity to write about something at university, is there anything you would pick in particular that would be of interest to you, if it could be anything?
That is a good question. You know, there's a lot of things on ducks and parking, so I'd probably steer away from that just because that seems to be the thing to go to because it's such a universal issue.
Universal.
No, but yeah, mostly about ducks. I think like everyone's obsessed with ducks here. I find it very funny.
Definitely.
But so far as trying to find a story itself, it would be difficult. I'd probably join a society and report on what's going on there. Just something that I found interesting, or like maybe the FemSoc or something like that. I don't know. Not really sure otherwise.
Yeah, for sure. So, like, any societies other than FemSoc you're particularly interested in? Or?
Well, I would say Quidditch Society.
Yeah?
I did join up for them, but I like for their newsletter. But I've completely ignored all the emails so far, so probably not that. Although that would be really fun to join.
I have seen people walking around broomsticks and stuff, so yeah.
Yes, I have watched some games, and it looks really good. But yeah,
How does that work? Like, I've actually seen a Quidditch game, so
Yeah, it's basically just running around on like with a broom between your legs, and it's like I don't really understand it completely. I'm not a very big sports person, but it's like it's just the quaffles and all of that, and the hoops, and they've got all the 3 hoops and everything there. So it's pretty fun. I reckon it'd be more fun on actual brooms, but
definitely. It sounds hilarious, though.
yeah, it is. It's pretty funny.
And just like in general with university, what would you say is like the best thing you experienced about it so far?
Oh, that's a really good question. I have really enjoyed the friends I've made so far. I've met a couple of people that like I've really like enjoyed hanging out with, you know, within my degree and within other degrees that I've just found that are really interesting. Like just hanging out with performance people, I feel it makes me really happy because they're just so carefree and they don't really care like what they do or what they say. It's very much like they'll just sit there, they'll lie there, and they'll just make noises, like just, you know, yesterday I was hanging out with some of them, and they're just one just started making seagull noises randomly. I'm just like, what? It's great because they just don't have like this sense of, oh, I can't do that, you know, it's a bit scary kind of thing.
I guess that's what they're doing all the time.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. So
yeah.
I think that's really great, and I've always admired that trait, and I want that trait. I think I attempt to have it.
You try.
I try. Yeah.
No, it's like a fun thing to be, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Carefree and such.
Yeah. I think life's too short not to dance.
I have to agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, thank you for your time. It was awesome talking to you.
Yeah.
And have
no
fun
problem.
at uni.
Thanks.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Oh my god, you gotta be kidding me.
It's working still,
Okay, cool.
I think.
Yeah, okay, it's still green, so
Yeah.
that was really good. You gave some really good answers, by the way.
Thank